Thank you very much. We're going to talk about, of all things, enjoyment during this segment. Now, I once made a list of the 10 things that are most precious to me in all this world, and believe it or not, one of the 10 was a sense of humor. I can't imagine people going through life without laughing, without enjoying it. But most people do, Thoreau said, live lives of quiet desperation. Now, I am sure that God wants us to be happy. I'm sure that we're supposed to be happy. In fact, the Talmud, which is a Jewish collection of rabbinical wisdom at the time made at the time of Jesus, says, get this, everyone will be called to account by God for legitimate pleasures that he or she has failed to enjoy. Did you ever think of that? That God would call you to account for not having enjoyed yourself enough, not having enjoyed the things that God gave you to enjoy, all right? Now, I think that's true. And I've often thought, if I may use my own little analogy, of pilgrims landing in New York wanting to go to California. Now, everybody says we're all pilgrims. The Vatican Council says we're pilgrims. Everybody says we're pilgrims. What does that mean? We're passing through. We're passing through this world on our way to our destiny, which is our Father's house, okay? Now, I have thought that there are 3 kinds of pilgrims. And the first kind says, I'm going to California, 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 I'm going to California. And they develop spiritual bad breath. They're awful people. They're humorless people. They miss everything in between New York and California. I used to have, you're supposed to learn German if you're going to be a scholar. And so I was over in a German convent, and Schwester Otmara was cleaning my room. She was 84 years old, and she would shine the floor by hand. And I was afraid I was going to find her dead there someday, so I said, oh, Schwester Otmara, Sie arbeiten zu viel. You're working much too hard. And she said, der Himmel ist nicht billig. Heaven isn't cheap, you know. And I go, oh, yeah, ich habe das vergessen. I forgot that. That's right. Heaven isn't cheap. But I keep, and I'm sure she's in a roped-off section up in heaven now. But I keep thinking, what a sad thing to go through life winning a place in heaven. And the more you suffer, the better. And you miss all the joys in between. And there's another type of pilgrim that says, hey, Jersey's nice. I mean, why press on to California? You got to cut down all those trees, you know? The sun is shining in Jersey. Let's stop there. And they are the people that settle for this world. They think, we're having a good time, you know? You only go around once, fly now, pay later. And they settle for this world. They don't go on to their destiny. Now, the third type of pilgrim, which I think is what God had in mind for you and me, is to go through life, to go across our pilgrimage, but to enjoy everything along the way, to enjoy the blue skies and the forest and the panoramic views and the lakes in Minnesota and the dark hills of the Dakotas and things like that. On our way to California, we're going to our Father's house. We're not there yet. But boy, it's a lot of fun along the way, isn't it? And I think this is what God has in mind. And so for me at least, whether God will call us to account for legitimate pleasures that we fail to enjoy or not, I think we're made to enjoy. We're made to be happy. And you got to set the dials of your mind that you can enjoy. And so I would like to ask you, do you enjoy everything? You know, enjoy challenge. Enjoy improvisation. You know, go down the hill at Edens and Dempster, like my friend did, and feel exhilarated because it's a challenge. I quoted Pearl Buck, the authoress, saying that the best times in her life were solving problems, meeting challenges. I often have wondered if Annie Sullivan, the miracle worker who worked with Helen Keller, really enjoyed Helen Keller's presence when she's in water. And she, you know, that's how she discovered, she wrote water in her hand and put it under the water of a pump. There must have been a great sense of accomplishment, a great sense of joy, a great sense of peace. And when I see young people who walk around with that awful look on their face, I want to reach in and tickle them or something and say, come on. Life is to be enjoyed, not endured. But there are some people who just can't enjoy. They're sort of psychologically, they can't enjoy. And I often have thought that if your days were numbered, you would start to enjoy. You know, there was a black girl at school who struggled to get her registered nurse's degree, and she finally got it. And she came back to see me, and I said, "How are you, Betty?" And she said, "I'm dying." And she looked healthy, so I said, "You are dying?" She says, "Yes, I'm a nurse. You know, I have leukemia, and there's nothing they can do about it. I'm going to die." Oh, I said, "Sit down and tell me about it. What's it like?" And she said, "Actually, it's the best time in my life." And I said, "Oh, how do you say that?" And she said, "Well, see, when you have 50 years ahead of you, you think you have 50 years ahead of you, and you say, 'I'll smell the flowers next spring.' But if you know this is your last springtime on earth, you stop and you smell the flowers. You go see the Sears Tower and look down in the city of Chicago, because this is the last opportunity you'll have to do that." And she says, everything that you take for granted, now you don't take it for granted. Now it's a special thing. She said, you know, they have to put a long needle in the base of her spine for spinal taps. And she said, but my boyfriend holds my hands when they're doing that, and I'm more aware of his hand in mine than I am of the needle going into my spine. And she told me about enjoying life, that this is the best time of her life. And I thought, oh yeah. I think it's too bad, isn't it, that only when we face death can we really live, stop and smell the flowers, really enjoy things. You know, there's a man that used to work for the company that's producing this video program. His name was Frank. And when Frank died, he died of a heart attack. He died suddenly. Among his effects, he had once been a wealthy man but lost most of his money. But among his effects, and I happen to have a copy of it and have been asked frequently to reproduce it for people, were the things I have enjoyed in life. And there were 75 things that were real particular pleasures of this man named Frank. Like playing Scrabble in front of a fireplace. Listening to the Boston Pops Orchestra. And he named all of them. I remember the last three were ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. He loved it. But these are the things I have enjoyed. And I've often thought that since we have to set the dials of our minds to enjoy, what you and I ought to do is at the end of every day, write out the things that we have enjoyed during the day. Write out a list of the things. Because if there's nothing on your list, obviously you've missed a lot. And they say that the average person does miss 90% of all the beautiful things that have passed by the eyes and come in through the ears and the senses. 90%. We're only 10% alive to the joys of life. So one way to set the dials of your mind to, I'm really going to enjoy the good things that God has given me, is to write out what you've enjoyed during the day. And if there's nothing on your list, then maybe the next day you'll be more attentive. And gradually you come around to that enjoyment phase. But you've got to really be convinced that God wants you to enjoy, that you will be called to account, the Talmud says, for all the legitimate pleasures you failed to enjoy. So I think this is very important to really enjoy. Now, as I said, there are some people that can't enjoy. And they just don't allow themselves to enjoy. Now, this is for various reasons, but there's kind of a roll call of demons. Did you ever read the Screw Tape Letters where the chief devil sends out his henchmen? He says, go tempt this person this way, discourage this person. But none of them ever are discouraged by being really, truly joyful. Discourage that person. Make that person think that life is a puzzle to be solved. Make that person think it's a suffering to be endured. Discourage that person, get the person worried about something. This is the way the devil works in us, to keep us from really enjoying. So there's kind of a roll call of demons. And you have to decide yourself, what keeps you and me from enjoying life? I have to decide for myself, you have to decide for yourself. What is the particular demon in you that keeps you from enjoying? Now, there are a list of them, a long list of them. It would be a picnic for a psychotherapist, you know, to kind of figure out why you can't enjoy. But, you know, the latest movement in the Alcoholic Anonymous movement is the ACOAs, the Adult Children of Alcoholics. And I had two of them in class. And they're two girls, and they acted like zombies. They couldn't say anything, they couldn't do anything. And they came in individually to see me, and I asked them about reacting to life, enjoying life, and they said, well, see, my father was a drinker. They both said the same thing, but they never really connected with each other. They didn't know. But my father was a drinker, and I said, did he ever stop? Yes, he did stop. And strangely enough, in both cases, the father stopped drinking when the girl was an adolescent. But she said, the messages get on your tapes. They call them parent tapes. Did you know that? You have a tape recorder up in your head, and people record on it. And one girl said, and the messages recorded in me when I was a little girl that I've carried all through life is, don't make waves, don't talk, don't touch, don't get close. Daddy will get upset, Daddy will throw a fit, Daddy will throw a tantrum. So you backed off from life, and you became a zombie. And it's really interesting that a lot of people really can't put themselves into life because of the parent tapes. Did you know that there are, in the transactional analysis, there's the P, the parent tapes, the adult is the middle circle, and then the child is the bottom circle. And the child is a storehouse of your emotional reactions. And the adult is you, your mind and your will. It's you in the present, you acting. And above that are your parent tapes. And a lot of those parent tapes are, don't enjoy. Wait till you get out in the cold, cruel world. Wait till people do what they've done to me. Wait till they do that to you. You'll find out. You can't trust anybody, not even your own parents. Yeah, you'll see. Our life is cruel. This world is a hard world to live in. If you got those messages on your tapes when you were a little child, you have work to do to expunge those tapes. But in transactional analysis, fortunately, you can. The secret, Dr. Tom Harris says, is to get your adult plugged in. Don't let your children, your emotions, ever make your decisions. I don't like you. You just go away from me, you know. Oh, come on. Don't let your children ever make your decisions. I'm mad. I'm not going to talk. That's letting the child make the decisions for me. You make your decisions. You're adult. Keep your adult plugged in. But we've got to face this fact that there are a lot of parent tapes in all of us telling us that we can't enjoy life, that life is not to be enjoyed. And this is one of the demons. Another demon is perfectionism, trying to be a perfect person. We've discussed this in our last segment. But trying to be perfect leaves you room only for failure. And if you fail all the time, how can you be happy? How can you enjoy life unless you're willing to accept yourself in the human condition? Among the other things that is mentioned in David Burns' book is all or nothing thinking. I've got to go all the way or nothing. I can't be 75%. I've got to be 100%. I've got to be a candle burning out of the purest wax on the altar of God before I'll be happy. No, you'll never be that. You're God's little goat, and I am God's little goat, and we knock a lot of things over, and we have to go back and pick them up and have to laugh about them, learn to laugh at ourselves. And remember, the only mistake you make is the one from which you learn nothing. Did you ever calculate the importance of a person's expectations of life? I've often thought that if a man comes home and he says, everything's going to be perfect. My wife will have dinner on the table. Everything will be ready. The kids will all be cleaned and so forth. There'll be no bikes in the driveway. And he comes home and there are bikes and roller skates strewn all over the driveway. He has to get out and pick them out of the way. And he goes, and the wife is holding the baby on her arms. The baby's just vomited on her. And he said, is dinner ready, hon? And she said, dinner? I haven't even thought about dinner. And he gets really mad because his expectations were everything's going to be perfect when he gets home. Now, if his expectations were the driveway will probably be littered with bicycles and roller skates, and she'll, oh, God, you know, the poor dear has been home all day with the kids, and the baby especially is colicky, then he's not disappointed. And some people expect life to go my way. I want things to go my way, and they stamp their little foot and they pout when it doesn't go their way. You know, come on. Life is challenged, too. Karen Horney, a lady psychiatrist, says there's three parts of loving. There is kindness, encouragement, and challenge. And sometimes God is kind to us. He lets us sit in his lap. He's very gracious. And there are other times when he encourages us, believe in yourself. Come on, use the gifts you have been given. And there are other times when God challenges us. And I really think that it's a challenge that brings out the coping abilities that we've never really tested before. So you can either cope or you can cop out. But you've got to somehow drive out whatever demon you find in yourself that keeps you from enjoying life. Ask yourself, what is that? Are you trying to be perfect? Are you your own worst critic? Then be a friend to yourself. But you've got to find out, what is the demon that keeps me from enjoying? Jesus wants us to be happy, wants us to be free, wants us to serve and to love and to enjoy life. I've often asked myself what God wants me to do with life, and I think the main thing I've been called to do is wed the two worlds of psychology and theology, and that's not easy to do. I've seen both. I've seen the psychologists who think that playing growth games is all you need to do. And I was once on a panel with 5 psychiatrists, and they were miserable people. One, he called it his friendly ulcer. I said, why do you call it your friendly ulcer? Because it always comes back and sees me. And another one had dollar signs in his eyeballs, who wanted to know, what are they paying you for this? And when I told him, he said, that's what they're paying me. And you and I are the two that drew all this crowd here. These other guys couldn't draw flies. And then I heard he said that to every other major speaker. You and I are the two that drew this big crowd. So I thought to myself, and one was a drunk, was a habitual drunk. His wife used to say, he will not be with us this evening. And we all knew why he couldn't be with us. And I thought, you guys don't have the answer. And then I see the religious world, the people trying to be holy, you know, with a spiritual bad breath. And I think, oh, we got to put those two worlds together. We got to really enjoy what God has given us. And as I say, I think God would ask us, don't you really enjoy all the good things I've given you? Don't you enjoy whom I have given you in life, the people that I've put in your life? Can't you really enjoy that? I gave them to you as graces. You were meant to find me in all things. And I really do believe that we're supposed to enjoy life, and at the same time, we're supposed to really turn our lives over to God. And this is not easy. But right now, what we want to consider is, what demons keep us from really enjoying life? Is it self-punishment for some reason that is at work within us? And here's Loretta Brady now, who's going to help us decide which of those demons is in us.
First, we have to locate the demons, don't we, so we can shoo them out. Think about what yours are. John gave us several examples there, but I can tell you what I know mine is. It has all kinds of costumes that it wears and all kinds of variations, but it really always comes down to the same thing, is I think too much about enjoying. And by the time I finish thinking, the moment, you know, the moment of enjoyment, it's gone. When I was a little kid, there were several very lively people in my family. I was not one of them. But they were just going all the time. They would say, hey, let's go down to the beach. Hey, let's go to the show. Let's go to... And every time someone would say one of those things, I'd be like, well, let's see. If we're going to the beach, then we have to take this. And I'd go into one of those. Or if we go to the show, then it's going to be too late to get back to... And I'd have to go into this head place. And I can remember then they used to say, forget it. And I'd just sit there continue. Well, maybe I couldn't. I'd continue the planning, and they had left. And I did this over and over as a kid, and I didn't realize it till much later in life when people began to say, boy, you really think through things a lot. You're really thorough, aren't you? You're a real thorough planner. And then I began to realize that I did this, and then I began to catch myself and put it together and say, I not only am a thorough planner, but that's the thing that stands in the way of the enjoyment. I want to enjoy life, but I always think I have to figure out all the details first or something. So I realized that my biggest demon or my biggest block to enjoying life isn't that I don't want to. I don't have to earn enjoyment time or deserve it, but it's that I think I have to plan it. And of course, what I miss out on is I'm wasting all this good enjoyment time just trying to plan it. And then secondly, enjoyment and fun is all about spontaneity. So as soon as you start lining it up on a chart, forget it. It's over. It's gone. Even if I do show up for the fun event, I've sort of drained all the juice, the fun juice out of it. And so I'm working on that, on saying yes immediately when somebody calls and say, hey, let's do this. I say yes. And I'm like, oh, I want to plan it. The demon is trying to pull me back. So Let's see, have you been thinking while I'm giving you my example of what your demon might be? Do you have an idea, Laura, of what your demon might be?
I think I have the same demon as you do. I plan everything thoroughly, and I want everything to be perfect, and so I plan it to the last detail. By the time I finish planning, there's no time to do it.
Okay, well, welcome to my club. I don't know whether I should say it's nice to have company or not, but we'll both try and work on it together, huh? Anyone else here thinking about your demons?
I truly am a planner, and I'm exhausted at the end of planning. I couldn't enjoy it when I do attend, or whatever I do. I'm tired. I'm exhausted from planning and seeing that everybody's going to enjoy and so forth.
Yeah. And you're reminding me, too, that sometimes what happens to me, it's not tired, but I do finally go to the fun event, but it's not fun.
Right.
It's boring,
Right.
because I've already had the event in the planning.
Right.
Okay.
I postpone enjoyment until all of the tasks have been accomplished. Well, we'll go to the beach if we clean the house, finish the dinner preparations, wax the car, and then we'll all go to the beach. Well, by that time, it's dark. You know, the kids are going, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. So I think if I enjoy first and accomplish later, it might work out better. But I'm working on that.
Okay, good. I got a kick out of your kids. They wait so long that they're begging to go to bed. How about some other folks, your demons, the things that keep you from enjoying?
I let things get in my way because I worry about what's going to go wrong or if this is going to happen if we do this. I don't enjoy it because I'm afraid that something's going to go wrong to spoil the enjoyment.
And of course, what's going wrong that's spoiling the enjoyment is you're worrying, huh? Yes.
Sometimes when I'm going to have company, I want them to really have a good time, and I want to have everything that they like to eat. And I get so into this that I can't enjoy their visit. But once they get there, and if it's something I haven't had time to do, well, then I'm okay. I go ahead and enjoy my company.
Oh.
I don't know what kind of reasoning that is.
Don't think too much. That's my problem. But I think maybe what we ought to do is just all surprise you tonight and show up at your house.
I've got so many people there now, it wouldn't make any difference.
Sounds like we could all have a good time. Anybody else with other demons that you'd like to share and dispel maybe by sharing? I'll hear.
I don't know, I've thought about it. Sometimes I think I'm spoiled. I've always enjoyed life, and a lot of things that I start to do, I think, well, I've done that before, I want something new, rather than going into it with the enthusiasm that I should.
Oh, okay.
And I think, you know, if I've done it before, you know, I guess I'm spoiled. So.
You've got to challenge yourself to enjoy the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Diane, you had something you wanted to say?
I think this is along the same lines of the lady's problem in preparing for guests, but I see it as an extension of a mothering problem. When we do something as a family, I always feel like, well, is everybody having a good time? Does this person need something else to have a good time? And I'm assuming this responsibility for the whole family to have a good time. So sometimes it's over, and did I have a good time? It's hard to notice if I did or not.
There's a wonderful piece that Irma Bombeck did once, you know, and if I had my life to live over again, what would I do? And there's a wonderful long list of things, but there's one on there that I just love the way she phrased it. It said, I would go barefoot earlier in the spring. And that phrase to me just sort of says, I would be freer. I would just join the dance of life, you know, forget all the cares and get onto it. That's one thing that's fun to do, I think, is just go barefoot. As a kid, we used to love to come back from the beach barefoot. It just seemed so free, and we used to think all Southerners did that, and us Northerners could only do it in the summertime. Things I enjoy. I love chocolate, unfortunately. I love to read. I could read all day long. I just love to read. I love to ride bikes and swimming. I adore swimming. It's invigorating and relaxing. It's got to be the greatest sport in the world where you get a reward even while you're, you know, no pain, no gain. all at the same time. You're working out and you're enjoying it. How about you folks? You got some enjoyment things that if we could get the demons out of the way, you'd put on your list?
Playing golf.
Oh, good, good. What do you enjoy the most?
Oh, I find the most relaxation sitting down and painting a picture.
Oh, I wish I could do that. Sitting down and painting a picture.
Oh, wonderful to have that power.
Yes, yes.
I enjoy my grandchildren. It's like a second lease on life. It's like you have the freedom to be ridiculous and funny, and you can get on the floor and you can do all those things that an adult would never do. But you can do it with your children and enjoy it.
Oh,
and no
that's
one, thinks anything of it because you're doing it for the kids. They should know.
That's great.
I raise birds, little birds, and I have a big gazebo. And I like to just watch their habits, their mating, and all of that.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Did you have something? What is it you would love to do?
Well, I love swimming too, but I also was going to say what Jean said about the grandchildren. It's just wonderful when a little child smiles at you. That just is full of joy, and I just really enjoy that. And I do enjoy the grandchildren and playing with them. And Jean even plays with mine. So.
Someone over here. Yes.
I enjoy spending time with my children one-on-one, especially right before they go to bed at night, and trying to communicate and like get in touch. It's a really good experience.
Great, that's wonderful. Did you have one?
Yeah, I enjoy music, nature, and the children. Music is something fantastic to me. Well, they all three are.
Yeah. See how many wonderful things there are in this world if we can just get our demons out of the way. Please do yourselves a favor. When you see that demon coming toward you, try and run the other way toward enjoyment. And just maybe if you remember my little adage, try and remember that you want to go barefoot earlier in the spring or summer, fall, winter, whatever season works for you. But to enjoy now. We don't have to wait till life is over. We can enjoy now. And in the next session, John's going to talk about something else besides enjoyment that's very important in our lives, and that is prayer, and how we can make prayer an integral part of every part of our daily lives. Thank you.